Right now, I am in Vienna, Austria, and I'm about to speak some German with local people. I've only been studying German for a total of 5 months. So, how did I get here? Well, it may be because of the Goofy Bird app, or maybe because of school, who knows. But, boys and girls, we're about to find out.
And in order to do that, we have to investigate specifically what Duolingo is trying to accomplish in comparison to modern education. But first, welcome to Langdawg, where the handsome boy you just saw was Lang, and me, the crazy genius, Dog. This is the only channel you need when it comes to learning languages and pedagogy. Please make sure to subscribe and like our videos to get more so you don't lag behind when it comes to perfecting your language skills and proficiency so you can rizz up that one girl or guy on WeChat. Now let's get into it, comparing the methods.
Alright, Dog. Please tell us the difference between Duolingo and a modern education like the American education system.
Well, Duolingo's method is all about engagement. Quick bursts of learning that feel like a game. You can practice 5 minutes in between your coffee break, school periods, and your 30-minute existential crisis you had because your girlfriend left you. Meanwhile, in school, you're expected to sit through hour-long lectures where half the time you're wondering if your teacher is actually fluent in the language, scared if they don't know anything, or scared that they are fluent in the language because they grew up with it and don't know how to teach. Like, seriously, for all my native English speakers out there, you may feel entitled to be able to make fun of people who can't speak English properly, but probably couldn't teach English yourself, despite being a native. Like, explain to me right now which one of these sentences is correct. The group of men is gay, or the group of men are gay. I'll give you 5 seconds. If you're a native, you should be able to explain to me grammatically which one is correct. And the correct answer in this case is number 1, because group is the subject of the sentence and group is a singular noun. Even though men is plural, the subject group is singular and is the subject of the sentence. So you use the singular verb is. And it is likely that everything I said confused the living Ohio skibbity out of you, which shows that teachers in school need to be able to have a firm grasp on what they are teaching so that language is used adequately. So the true question when it comes to comparing the methods between Duolingo and the education system is which system clearly conveys to the learner what is actually going on, or in other words, which one is easier to understand while being more effective.
This is what makes the debate nuanced, because with Duolingo, we have the app to see everything that they do. But with modern education, even though there are guidelines and rule books, teachers can do whatever they want, in theory. But just for making some ground, while Duolingo is great at getting you to memorize a few words and sentences, it does not give you the same deep understanding that a classroom can provide. You won't be dissecting Shakespearean metaphors or arguing about the Industrial Revolution in Duolingo, at least not now, at the time of recording this video, because no Duolingo course currently has a C1 section. With Duolingo, it is cool that they can update their app regularly, while with schools, it usually takes a lot more time for things to change. But there are things that Duolingo still struggles to provide, specifically with immersion, which is just surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible. Duolingo has tried to meet the complaints about users not being able to practice listening to the accents of real people by introducing more AI methods that are supposed to replicate real-life immersion. But it is safe to say that this will not directly correlate with how people actually talk, like stutters, accents, dialectal differences, etc. Is school much better at this though? Yes. Assuming your teacher is good enough, hearing their voice can give a level of authenticity to the language and how it is spoken. But if you were to learn Spanish in school and then even go to Mexico, not everyone is going to have the same voice as your teacher. You need to get comfortable with the language from hearing the language from a variety of people.
Well, sadly, when it comes to schools, I would actually like to argue myself that schools actually never use the complete immersion method. A 2019 survey by the National Foreign Language Center found that immersive language programs produce higher fluency, yet most US schools still rely on rote memorization. Why? Because, as stated before, it takes forever for schools to change things because it is systemically rooted, not that type of systemically. And oftentimes schools don't have the best interest for making sure that you have the best experience possible if it means changing something that isn't technically broken. Let's just be clear of that. Because even though I definitely argue that there are flaws with the current system, it is still quote unquote working, which is why schools don't change them. But how is this better than Duolingo? Yes, it does update itself frequently, at least twice or more a month. However, Duolingo is still an app. Everything is behind paywalls, and the user is constantly barroted with ads in order to make them just suck it up and pay. And if that wasn't enough, they are incentivized to give the company money by watching ads or paying for infinite hearts because Duolingo has a limited heart system. This is just the reality of business and what Duolingo as a company is trying to do to still, exist. But obviously, it is not the ideal. So basically, it seems like both methods, after all, may not be good, and you might just need to stick to Glossica.
But an important thing for me is definitely pace. Every learner has the right to go at their own pace and learn the material they want to learn. Education systems usually limit this, but Duolingo is not the best at this either, because even though Duolingo has a lot of content, most of it is stretched out so you can use the app for as long as possible and watch as many ads as possible, both not optimizing the amount of time you otherwise could be have had? That's so weird. English grammar is so weird. Was zum Teufel?
Grammar and general comprehension is the biggest point here, because as I said, the true question here is which system more clearly conveys to the learner what is actually going on. Or in other words, which one is easier to understand while being more effective. With education, at the end of the day, it is up to the teacher and how good their methods are and how good they resonate with the student, as well as how motivated the student is. There's just no question with that. With Duolingo, the learner still needs motivation, but grammar may be confusing and be unclear for some learners. Yes, Duolingo does have grammar notes for every single unit to explain the topic. Kind of. It goes over everything that you will learn, but not how it is learned, if you know what I mean. Basically, not how it works. Duolingo makes itself seem smart by talking about direct object pronouns, but forgets that most of its learners don't even know what a direct object pronoun is. The biggest fault with grammar is, in my eyes, definitely verb conjugation. Duolingo has many sections currently, especially for its T5 languages, but definitely French and Spanish, to just memorize the verb conjugation through drills and drills. However, it would be more adequate if the user just had a chart of the conjugation, either somewhere on the app they could always refer to, or as an exercise to fill out. You should still not take away the drills Duolingo does, because users and just language learners in general need to be able to conjugate sentences themselves and recognize pronoun agreement and how that works. But it is just dumb that they do not have a chart they can look back to before doing a lesson on the app, especially if they take a break, like the student, especially if the student takes a break and they just need a refresher, but because they don't have a chart, they mess up and lose a heart and they have to watch an ad. Like, what the frick? And also, because a lot of students on Duolingo are deprived of these resources, but think Duolingo is the only way to learn a language, or is the most convenient way to learn a language, students will not go out of their way to look things up on their own, even though they should, actively hurting development. But that's just a skill issue. However, this shows that maybe this battle is arbitrary, because there needs to be discipline within the learner for them to be able to learn the language and use what they actually need. And if they don't know what they need, I'm not sure if Duolingo will tell them, or even a teacher. But to be honest, at least with a teacher, there is a better chance at direct feedback and guidance to resources, assuming that the teacher is good and transparent. And if you fit the student that I just described, the student who does not have discipline and does not know what they need, well, that's what we are here for. Please like this video and check out some of our other videos.
So to review and answer the question, according to a 2020 survey by Statista, 34% of Americans said they were self-taught in their second languages, mainly using apps like Duolingo. In contrast, only 17% learned a second language in a classroom setting. The clear winner? People seem to be preferring the quick, bite-sized lessons of Duolingo. But when you factor in things like conversation practice, cultural understanding, and real-world immersion, the American education system does have its perks. Duolingo's language courses are designed for anyone and everyone. It's all about engagement through gamification. Complete a lesson, get a gem. Fail, get a reminder that you're probably the worst student ever. US schools typically offer language classes, but with a traditional method that some say just doesn't work. A study from the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages found that students spend years in classrooms learning grammar rules and vocabulary, but only 15% become proficient speakers. So the answer is clear.
Duolingo is more accessible. However, I would say that personally my experience in the education system has actually been fairly okay. I think that when you build a connection with your teacher and that you're transparent with what you need and your goals, I think that they'll definitely give it to you. So I think in theory, definitely school will just work better. However, I think this video is just a testament that there are things that just need to be changed all around in general. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Please make sure to subscribe and like so that you can get the methods in order to learn a language, because there's a lot of you who probably aren't in school or your schools are failing you. But here at Langdawg, we'll teach you all the methods that you need in order to learn a language effectively. And also for more goofy content, make sure to check out my solo channel, Langdawg. But be careful, because some of the wisdom I teach over there might make you too smart for your own good.
Miss